Hearth of the home. This was a full main floor renovation. Our design team reimagined everything. The kitchen, dining, living areas, plus the mudroom, laundry, and front entry. We took an 80s blast from the past and transformed it into a modern, efficient space. The client's goal? Open things up, give it a fresh, modern feel, and make it work better for their lifestyle. In this video, you'll see exactly how our project manager and production team brought those ideas to life.
Here, one of the real frustrations these clients had was this kind of goofy small landing space here. It kills a bunch of usable square footage on this floor. So what we've done is we've come up with a design that actually makes it so that this floor area up here is all the same height, and this door can actually come up high enough so that everything works out just perfectly. This is going to be where the kitchen is. So like I said before, L shape here, island here. Life is going to be great. Camera's roughly where I think the dining table goes. I'd have to go back and look at the drawings.
It is really, really interesting as somebody who is in this business on a regular basis for me to still come back and see some of this video footage of what this home looked like before we really got carried away with getting things done. I mean, I would definitely say that sunken foyer, it really, really, really affected furniture layout and how the house could be used. Also, that original kitchen, and I think we've got some images that we can flip to right now. It certainly makes the before and after that much more impactful because holy smokes, right?
Okay, so in this area here, we're gonna be dividing this space into 3 different areas. We're gonna have a mudroom over here. So this door into the garage is gonna move over yonder. There's gonna be a laundry room in the middle, and then there is going to be a full bathroom. So we have taken 2 kind of awkward, goofy spaces, and we are gonna make it into 3 very functional, very usable spaces.
One of the things that we've been asked a bunch of times about was like, why did we disconnect the mudroom from the front door? And the reason for that is in almost all of the homes that we're designing, especially when we're doing significant renovations and or new homes, the mudroom is almost always attached to the garage and not attached to the front door. The front door is kind of sort of meant to be like the door that guests come through. When people walk in through the front door, everything looks clean and pretty and tidy. And you hide your mess and all of the stuff that really goes on in our lives in the mudroom. When you're having guests over and whatever else, and you want the home to feel a little bit more elegant, you have your guests come through the front door. And that's kind of why we decided to move things around and do what we did there.
Okay, so we're now out front of the house, and this is the last area that we're going to be touching at the front. We will be removing this middle column here, installing a new beam over here. And if you're familiar with this style of house, what the builders of this era did is they actually had a post inside the garage as well.
Another question that we were asked is, why go through all of that work to simply get rid of a post in the middle of the garage? And I guess there was a post in the middle of the garage, and there was a post in the middle of the garage at the front because there was 2 garage doors and we turned it into 1 garage door. The 2 garage situation was more or less fine, but the issue with having that middle post in the garage is that is a door killer. Anytime you were going in or out of your vehicle and you have a post in the middle of your garage, you're almost always gonna knock your door on that post. So, getting rid of that middle post is definitely a no-brainer.
We have now installed this new micro lamp 4-ply micro lamp beam. So that will now support the house above. That all comes down onto the foundations on the outside, which have all been inspected and approved, thank goodness, by our engineers.
Yeah, so here I'm looking at myself, looking at the front of the house with the old 2 garage doors. You can absolutely tell a home was built in the 80s when they've got like the little angles on the side of the garage door. That was just such a feature that we saw so much of in the 80s. Certainly getting rid of like the little angles in the garage door, that is an easy way to make your home look more modern.
We are now at the front door, same house, new problem. We are raising the front door so that the new bottom of the front door is roughly yay high. What we now have to contend with is figuring out how to build and support a new concrete landing and stairs going down to roughly where the camera is located right now.
So when we're looking at the front elevation of the house and we're talking about, how the stairs are going to work and that sort of thing, again, when we're lifting up the foyer on the inside of the house, I mean, it should be fairly obvious that you've also got to lift up the outside of the house, because, your landing outside of the home needs to be roughly, 6 or so inches lower than the landing on the inside of the house. So when we're lifting the foyer up, whatever it was, 2.5 or so feet on the inside of the house, we're going to have to do the same in the front landing. One of the things that we really had to think about when we were doing that is there's a peak coming down over the front walkway there, and we really had to put on our thinking caps to make sure that as you're walking up the stairs, you didn't tap your head on the fascia and give yourself a gash. And so, I mean, we did our calculations, figured everything out, and obviously the end result is a set of stairs that good to go.
Right now we can see we've got the wall framed up here. We've got backing up here for the future barn doors that are going to be going here. So we like to make sure that we've got solid backing to attach all that stuff.
So one of the things, like as we were going through the design here, one of the benefits of the original design is you kind of could see the whole way from the upper floor kitchen area there down into what was, formerly like the sunken family room. Well, for these clients, that did not work for their lifestyle, for how they wanted to work in the home. What we came up with was basically there's now a wall delineating the upper kitchen area and that lower hallway. Our clients, they didn't want that to be just like one big room. They also wanted to have the ability to have that become a guest bedroom when they have people come and stay with them. We put in some really cool barn doors that look beautiful. The clients were going to finish them, and that was something that he was really excited to take care of himself. So that's why they're raw in all of our videos as we get to the finish line here. That is going to give their guests some privacy when they have guests come and stay over. The game plan is and was to put a Murphy bed in there so that, if they have guests, there's a bed in place, and if there's nobody there, they can pop up the Murphy bed, and that room can be used for whatever they wanted to use it for. There was talk of having it as maybe an office. There was talk of having it as a flex rec room for the kids. They could even turn it into a gym. So it really gave those clients a ton of options in terms of how to use that space. We increased the utility of the space because now we've created a couple different rooms that can be used in different ways.
We can see here that we have got the new walls framed up. I think this was done before. What we did realize just before the end of last year, is that we do have some plumbing drainage going in this exterior wall here. And in order for that to happen, we need to fur this wall in. So we lose a little bit of interior space, but that makes sure that we have enough insulation in the exterior wall so that we A, meet code, and B, make this home as energy efficient as humanly possible.
Now looking at some of the framing that was going on in the new full bathroom that we created on that lower main floor area there, and I'm not sure where you live, but in Canada now, you really can't put any sort of plumbing in exterior walls, right? We've got to get our insulation in first, and then we can have our plumbing happen in front of that insulation. So, really the only way to do that, if you need to get your shower valves specifically to the exterior wall, you really are going to need to frame a secondary wall in front of that to accommodate all of your water pipes. And we got this thing done in, I don't know, 5.5 months or something like that. I mean, the clients were shocked that we actually got them in when we said we would. I don't know. I mean, it's just what we do. We always put a little bit of buffer into our projects, but I think by making sure that you start organized and stay organized throughout the project, it sure does make everything move more efficiently and definitely more smoothly. So certainly, one of the things that our design team was aiming to do with this project was to make sure that we had some consistency and some calmness to the house. We strongly encourage our clients, and I do it in my own homes, one type of like wood flooring throughout the vast majority of the main floor, and maybe you put tile in a full bathroom. Powder rooms should stay as wood. But, certainly like if you had a full bathroom, and definitely any sort of mudroom or laundry room should certainly be, you should consider tile or some sort of vinyl plank or something like that. Something that is going to be okay with some significant wear and tear, and obviously exposure to water. However, everywhere else, keep it the same, keep it consistent. And when you do these kinds of things, it's amazing how much more calm the home feels. A lot of times you can't put your finger on why it feels calm, but it's when you keep things consistent, when you have symmetry. These are the sorts of things that the human brain likes, and it really makes a big difference. So when you come home, it's like, my home is nice. And that's why it is, because you don't have a bunch of craziness going on everywhere.
You know, one of the things that I'm obsessed about, and I think you should be too, is flush transitions into all the rooms, right? I hate walking through a room and then having that like bump or whatever it is between carpet and tile, or carpet and what flooring and flooring. I like for it to feel smooth and flush. And here, just feeling this with my foot, it feels exactly what I would want.
T-moldings or any sort of like foot jabbing effect that happen as you go from one flooring type to another, it's just a lack of care. I mean, honestly, it requires a little bit of effort, but it makes such a difference when you go from hardwood to tile, and it's a nice smooth transition. You're not jabbing anything into the bottom of your foot. We absolutely removed all the drywall and all the insulation. We ended up doing spray foam insulation on the underside of sheathing, where we did remove the drywall and the blown in insulation. Again, infinitely better finished result, far more energy efficient.
This is as far down as we dug, and we're just kind of sort of starting to touch solid bearing out here. What we've decided is going to be a far more cost-effective option for this project, and for many of our projects these days, is to actually have helical piles put in to serve as our structural support for this new stair assembly that's going to go in here. That's really important to make sure that these new stairs don't sink into the ground over time.
You can see here that in this section of video, I am literally 6 feet deep in the ground. The reason why we started digging a hole is to get down to solid bearing. And it turned out that solid bearing was really nowhere to be found. It just, we gave up after 6 feet. And you can see, like, anytime you see any roots, even the smallest of roots, those are considered organics. And that is not structurally sound, right? The roots can and will ultimately rot, and that's no longer structurally sound. What we ended up doing, instead of continuing to dig down to China, we went with helical piles. Maybe in hindsight, we should have gone with that after 3 feet, but one of the guys on the site is pretty amazing at digging holes, so that's what happened.
This bulkhead, when we were doing the original design for this project, we had assumed / hoped that we would be able to remove this bulkhead. Well, it turns out the way that this home was built and the way that it was framed, we've got trusses. It's not a full truss, but it's still a truss landing on here, and this is actually a beam that's spanning from here to here. So now we're working with the engineer and the client and our designer to figure out what we're going to do here. You can kind of see, what the design roughly is supposed to be. There's supposed to be a chimney hood fan here.
Going through the chimney hood fan and not expecting there to be a beam where there ended up being. I think one of the most important attributes of any solid contractor is knowing how to solve problems and knowing how to pivot, right? Even when you're building a new home, there's always going to be something that doesn't go right. And if you have the expectation that you just give your builder a set of drawings and they'll magically knock it up, there's just always going to be something that doesn't quite work the way that you do. And, we've been talking about this a lot lately. Honestly, if you don't have to redo 90% to 95% of the work, that's a huge win. There's just always going to be a few things that you just, no matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you plan, there's always going to be something that you're going to need to move. Now, that is if you care. If you are trying to deliver really, really, really clean, amazing looking stuff, there's always going to be a little bit of backwards motion. It's just inevitable. It just is. I don't know anybody that, goes from start to finish without any hiccups along the way. It doesn't happen. If you don't give a and you're just trying to slap something up, well, you can go from start to finish, no problem. There's 3 pillars of construction, and we talk about this with all our clients. There's time, there's cost, and there's quality, and you get to pick 2. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you want it done fast and you want it done to a high level of quality, you're going to need to be a little bit negotiable on how much it's going to cost. Cost and say quality are all you're going to care about. Then you can anticipate that your project is going to take forever because you're going to be waiting around trying to negotiate pricing with different trades. And, we're probably going to have to redo a few things here or there because you run into issues with hiring cheap trades. Time, cost, quality. Pick two. Sprucehill, we choose to pick quality and time. We want to get our projects done effectively and efficiently for our clients, and we want to deliver amazing quality products. Does that mean that we gouge our clients cost-wise? I don't think so. I think we provide amazing value. But those are the two things that we care about. What do you care about? One of the things that we did on this renovation is we added a few skylights, and holy smokes, does that add a lot of natural light to a space. It really makes a difference. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, skylights are going to leak. I mean, they're going to leak if they're installed by morons. Absolutely. But if you hire professionals that know what they're doing, they don't leak. I mean, you've got to make sure you get your flashing right. They've got to be installed correctly. But if they're installed correctly, they can add an amazing amount of beautiful natural light and really make your home feel brighter.
We've got cabinets. We're ready to measure for countertops, so that's exciting. Pacific Rim Cabinets is the supplier of the cabinets on this particular project. We've worked with them quite a bit over the last few years. I am really, really impressed with the quality of the finish on the outside of their cabinets.
We've been working with Pacific Rim Cabinets for a few years now, and I mean, they have been one of our best finds of the last 5 years. If there was Feel-O-Vision, it really would be something. Like the finish that goes on these cabinets, the paint and the number of coats of paint that they use, it's amazing. I mean, I've actually got their cabinets in my own personal home. There's one area where we've got a little nick out of the paint, and I've got 2 teenagers. Again, I'm talking like a little scratch throughout the entire house. Wood finish, painted finish, a very, very resilient finish coming from Pacific Rim. Really appreciate their work.
Island is installed now. So what we've got here is a set of 24-inch cabinets, and here a set of 12-inch cabinets. What will then happen is we'll have a 12-inch overhang on this side of the counter or on this side of the island as well. So this will be our island seating.
This island was pretty cool once it's done. It's neat to see the cabinets in place, but once we got the countertop on top of this bad boy, it got even cooler. Let's just address the elephant in the room. The white plugs and the white grills on the island were not what we wanted to see in there. I would have preferred to see gray or black or even color matched. I suspect that they have been painted and color matched now, but this is what we were instructed to do at the time, and so that's what we did. Don't hold Sprucehill accountable for the white plugs and the ducting grates at the bottom of the island when you see them on our videos. So here we came up with really cool wraparound stairs going up to the front door. That was one of the things that, our client wanted to be able to come down the stairs from their front door, and one of the clients has a dream of having a patio in the front yard so they can wave at the neighbors as they walk by. I can actually fully envision maybe him and her, because she's very nice and I think she would just do it to make him feel good. And you know who I'm talking about when you're watching this, so I hope that makes you guys chuckle. But again, this is what we do for our clients. We listen to what they want and we design what they need. And that's what we did. So really, really cool custom stairs that we did here. I mean, I love this hemlock soffit that we put in here. It looks beautiful. It's got a bit of knotting in it, so it's got some character to it. It's not fully vertical grain, but I personally like that look myself. It adds a little bit of character. Everything looks cool in different places and different applications. For this home, for the character of this home, having some knots in the soffit was really good. And obviously, creating that massive overhang and roof area above the front door there gave them a ton of dry space for them and their guests when they're waiting at the front door to not get rained on. Let's have a look at this kitchen, right? We went from this super tiny, almost unusable kitchen to this kitchen that's got a ton of counter space, a ton of cabinetry, right? Open, welcoming. We've got everything your heart could wish for in this kitchen. And I mean, it just looks beautiful. I love the blue cabinets for the island. I think they look super cool. There's really nothing about this kitchen that I don't like. And as we get closer to the finish line here and we start to see the backsplash, it really comes together wonderfully for these guys. I mean, it's just a great, great, great kitchen. And you know, it's got a little kitchen nook so they can have a small dining table there. They can also have a larger dining table there if they wanted to. Look at this herringbone backsplash. I mean, come on now. Come on. I mean, that'll look sick.
And I thought I would drag the camera over here and show you why this project is called Hearth of the Home. This is going to be the mantle. And this piece of wood has been with this family, I believe, for decades. It is a very meaningful piece of wood for them. And so our carpenters are going to cut it up and make it look amazing. And it's going to get installed over there above the fireplace. But it's really, it's a cool wood burning fireplace. Very, very specialized, very, very cool.
Pretty cool that that piece of wood has been with a client for so long and we were able to incorporate it into the design, into the finished product.
Why on God's green earth are you not putting rollouts in your pantry cabinet? Without rollouts, whatever is at the back of a 2-foot deep cabinet, it's there for the rest of the time. You're never gonna see it. With rollouts, we can roll it out and now everything that would be on that shelf is now available. So the effective and usable space of this pantry cabinet goes up at least 50%, I would say, because this rear 12 inches is so hard to access once there's stuff in front of it. But if you have a rollout, now we can access everything easily. So rollouts in your pantry cabinets, thumbs up.
Kyle was asking me like, well, do we do rollouts in all of our pantry cabinets? Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. If you don't have rollouts in your pantry cabinet, whatever's in the back of your pantry is gone. And I don't care if your pantry is 12 inches, 16 inches, or 24 inches. Having a rollout in there, yes, it costs a little bit of extra money, but my God, does it make your cabinet more functional, right? You can pull it out. You can look to the side of it. There's different styles in case you want to have shorter stuff. There's rollouts that have rails rather than like plywood boxes. But generally, you'll see in our pantries that we've got rollouts that are just made out of plywood, and you just pull the whole shelf out, basically. Like, I mean, that's what a rollout is a movable shelf. So you just pull that whole shelf out, and now you can see everything, including what's at the back of the shelf, because it's a drawer. I really still love the pendants that we put in there. They're super, super cool. If you bring your contractor and the trades on site cookies that are homemade every day, this is what we can do for you. Absolutely. This client was amazing. Baked goods makes everybody happy. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this project in review. It was a lot of fun to put it together, and it really was a lot of fun to also go down memory lane and reflect back on, where the project was and where we finally got to. We really enjoy what we do around here, and certainly seeing the transformation of this particular project put a big smile on my face. It also helps when we generally seem to be very fortunate to work with really amazing clients, and we really enjoyed working with this particular set of clients, and their kids were also great too. The dog was a little crazy, but we love the dog too. I mean, just a great, great, great family. We collaborated, we worked together, and then they put their trust into us to create something amazing, and that's what the team did. And certainly, we got a lot of help and a lot of feedback, and a lot of answers from these clients throughout the project. But I think the proof is in the pudding. I mean, when you look at the before and you look at the after pictures, I mean, you can see what we started with and you can see what we finished with. If you are thinking about making those kinds of changes to your home, we would love to be your partners in success. We would love to hear from you. Reach out on our phone number or on our website, and we will have one of our team have a nice chat with you, see if we can work together and find a way forward. If you would like to know anything more about what we do, or if you have any thoughts about what we did poorly, I'd love to hear what you thought we did well. We sure would like to hear from you in the comments. If you find this information informative, useful, helpful, entertaining, because you get to see my beautiful face, drop us a like, subscribe to the channel. We sure would appreciate it. And as always, Thanks for watching and stay awesome. Bye now.